Encore. Now, in my opinion, I think Encore is pretty much the definition of a mixed bag when you think of a term like that. You usually hear other like people talking about a different albums like, oh, let's say, I don't know, like GNX from Kendrick Lamar is a mixed bag or something like that, even though it's not. Um, you know, it's a term that sometimes could be true when used in a correct way, and sometimes it's just wrong because sometimes it's either just bad when they try to like downplay it as like, oh, it's not that bad. I'm sure there may be some bad things, but not completely bad. But no, for Encore from Eminem, I really do think it's the actual definition, or not really definition, but the example, the perfect example of a mixed bag, in my opinion. Because when I look back at it, since I've been listening to the album a lot recently, mostly some of the songs that I just been obsessed with, um, I think about some of the songs I listen to and some of the songs that I also try to listen to, and I just can't because it really was insane to me just how bad some of the songs were. Not all of the songs. I'll talk about it in this video, but I really do feel like this album is the definition of a mixed bag, but I don't think it is at all. I retract my statement on saying like it's weaker than Revival. That's actually very wrong. And I know, it's a pretty hot take to say that Revival was even a good album, but I do think it is. But I retract my statement now that, Encore is a worse album or, a weaker album compared to Revival. Um, but that doesn't mean, it's not any better or, it's not perfect. So I'm going to be talking about it in this video. So it's his fifth studio album, and of course, everyone when this first came out was pretty disappointed, mostly because of just how big his previous three albums were. The Slim Shady LP, Marshall Mathers LP, and the Eminem Show. It's really, if I think about it, it's really hard to sort of like top that, especially with, probably where Eminem was at the time, like how he was doing. It was really hard to do that because it's clear he was not in his best, he wasn't at his best state during that time. So, of course, the album would suffer a little bit, and there are some reasons on why it suffered a lot. So, I'm going to be talking about that right now. So, obviously, one of the main problems or contributors of like, the quality of the album was his drug abuse. He had severe problems with, drug addiction, and it was at its worst when he was working on Encore. Um, he'd be taking a lot of pills that he used to say, and it got even worse because unfortunately one of his best friends, Proof, passed away, which apparently said that it made his drug usage skyrocket, which is just crazy. And later on, almost getting him close to overdosing and dying in 2007. But before that, like I said, the quality of his music started getting impacted because of the drug abuse and just of other things that are happening in his life, like his best friend passing away. So, of course, the album was going to suffer, especially when he was rushing as well. And if I recall, he also ended up having to scrap some songs because some of the songs were leaked. And I'm guessing he was pretty frustrated on that and contributing with his drug abuse. He just took it even less serious now with some of the songs he did in replacement of it. Like if I recall, I think my Big Weenie was the one where he said that he finished it in like 40 minutes or something, which is pretty obvious to me that he did. Because I'm sorry, but maybe some people out there do like Big Weenie, and there's no hate to you, but I just don't like the song, especially the fucking chorus. I think the chorus is probably one of his worst choruses of all time in my opinion, and that's coming from an Eminem fan that's a huge fan of Revival. I know maybe I'm just being delusional, but it's just so bad. I'm sorry to say. Anyways, of course, the album was going to suffer so much because of everything that Eminem was going through at that time. The drug abuse was at its worst. He was taking so much drugs. It got even worse because of his best friend Proof dying, and other things. not as big, but the some of the songs in the album leaking and him having to replace them really quickly, which just made the production even more rushed. And it would be clear to me that the production was extremely rushed because of the songs like My First Single, which by the way, I feel like My First Single could have been a better song. Like maybe just change the beat a little bit because it does get really obnoxious when you hear it. But then it kind of kills everything as well with what Eminem is saying in there. Like, the fucking burps in there, like the diarrhea farts or whatever, it just gets instantly killed. And I get so pissed off hearing that song because I feel like it could have been so much better. It really could have. Maybe I'm just being delusional, but it really could have been a much better song. I kind of like the beat of it. Maybe if I sound crazy, but I know people like if you look at the song right now and you look at the comments, like not even like maybe there's like one person that is like defending it, is like, come on guys, this kind of slaps. Everyone else is just making jokes like, oh, the type of beat that you hear with like smacking a pencil on the disc or some shit like that. It's kind of funny, but it's understandable. But anyways, moving on to the songs now. Now we're talking about the songs since we already talked about why the album was such at its bizarre state, and it's understandable because of everything Eminem was going through. It was going to suffer, and that's unfortunate because I really feel like it would have been better if he just, just took some time off, and even if, he had to go to like rehab or something, just a few more years away from music. I feel like Encore could have been a lot more better, and maybe people were just getting desperate, like wanting more Eminem songs. But if I heard that that's what Eminem was going through, then I really would have wanted him to just stay away from music and just take some time off because God knows the album probably could have been a lot better, and he would have been in a better state to think that he knows what he's doing and he's just not, not making bullshit up or something like that. Like it just, I feel like he should have just taken the time off because he really needed that. He really needed the time off because I would rather honestly have him at its best and make better music, even if some people don't think it is, than him at his worst and probably come out with many mediocre songs, but maybe just like one or two good songs. It's not really that good in my opinion. But anyways, moving on from that, now we're talking about the songs. So the songs from the album is Evil Deeds, Never Enough, Yellow Brick Road, Like Toy Soldiers, Mosh, Puke, My First Single, Rain Man, Big Weenie, Just Lose It, Ass Like That, Spend Some Time, Mockingbird, Crazy in Love, One Shot, Two Shot, and Encore, Curtains Down. So, I really do feel like the beginning of Encore is pretty strong. I really like the interlude of Curtains Up, everyone hyping up in the concert, they want to see Eminem's like Eminem, Eminem, hyping him up. Like it really does feel like it hypes me up whenever I'm waiting for him to finally start singing, and like I'm kind of like imagining the scene right now, like the curtains or like Eminem raising up and then maybe like the curtain sliding away and just revealing himself. And then Evil Deeds, I think it's a pretty solid song. I know some people might say that it's mid. I've seen some people say that it's mid, but I honestly think that it's a pretty decent song. It's not the worst. I feel like it could have been better with what Eminem would have said, but it's kind of like I kind of like the flow of it, especially the beat. I think the beat is really solid in here. I like the chorus. Here, let me see if I could just bring it up real quick. It went something with like, Father, please forgive me, for I know not what I do. I just never had the chance to ever meet you. Therefore, I did not know that I would grow to be my mother's evil seed and do these evil deeds. It's kind of catchy to me. And when he means father, he's not talking about like, God or anything like that, anything religious. He's talking about like his actual father that, he never got to meet. And also throwing more shots on his mom, like always. Um, but I really do think that I really like the beat of it. I think the production in this song, in my opinion, I like it a lot more, compared to many other songs that he's made. I think it's pretty decent. Sure, the lyrics could be a little questionable, maybe a little silly, or not silly, but, satirical in a way. But that's prime Eminem. That's what you really expect. Of course, he wasn't at his prime at this time, but at least it still feels like there's a little bit of that in him right now. Um, Unfortunately, it wasn't at his best because of all the shit that he was going through, but it was still very decent, I would say. Anyways, moving on from that, Never Enough from Fit or featuring 50 Cent and Nate Dogg. I think it's a pretty solid song as well. It's just a shame. I think the only problem of this song is just it's so short. I don't know why they made it so short. It's only 2 minutes and 40 seconds. It should have been longer, like at least like 3 or 4 minutes. It should not have been that short. I mean, come on, Nate Dogg and 50 Cent in here. Of course, Nate Dogg did great in here. Making the chorus catchy as hell. I don't. I don't know why it was so short. I really don't think or don't know why it was so short. That's really the only problem of this song. The beat is pretty solid. I like it. I don't listen to it too often, but I still think it's pretty good, especially compared to some of the other songs. It's just it makes no sense. Um, but anyways, moving on. Yellow Brick Road. Now, I really do feel like Yellow Brick Road is Eminem's most underrated song of all time. No matter what, I don't care what anyone says. There are many other underrated songs as well, but this one for sure takes the cake for the most underrated song of all time. I don't care what anyone says. This is not overrated. This is underrated. This is so fucking good. I love the beat of the production was really good in here. I don't know what happened here. Eminem just suddenly like locked in and did really good. And there was actually a bit of a story of why he made Yellow Brick Road. So the story of Yellow Brick Road is him actually apologizing of a supposed demo tape that was leaked called Foolish Pride, which contained some racist lyrics, which I think it's fair to, actually make a response to that, especially during that time. Some people were still critical of Eminem, and apparently not apparently, he took some responsibility, as you can hear in the music, because I think some people, I don't know if he was talking about like some people said that it wasn't that bad or something, but he said, but it was bad and I was wrong because I singled out a whole race, and for that I apologize. I was wrong because no matter what color a girl is, she's still a, and it cuts out, but you know, classic Eminem, like he does be serious in a moment, but still brings out, hey, it's still me, still being sort of like satirical in a way, but also being serious. Like he's not joking. He was taking accountability. He just threw in a little sort of like sort of Eminem on there right there, like no matter what she is, she's still probably like I don't know what he meant, probably like a slut or something if I would think so. Not that I would agree or anything like that, but I think it's a pretty solid song. I like the chorus. I love the beat of it. It's just so good. I've been really obsessed with it lately. I just been listening to it nonstop at work, and it's just so good. I really do think that this is one of his most underrated songs of all time. And this, in my opinion, I'm sorry, this should have gotten the amount of attention that Ass Like That got. Because I'm sorry, Ass Like that is mid. I don't care what any of you guys say. That song is fucking mid. I really don't see the hype in that song. It's just so mid. There are many of other songs that in here that deserved a lot more recognition than Ass Like That. I really don't see the hype in it. Maybe it's just like the chorus that's catchy. It's like Ass Like That, but come on. There's other better songs, please. Especially with what's it called? Yellow Brick Road that I feel like had a lot of a better like a more better production than Ass Like That because it felt more serious. Because whenever I'm listening to Eminem, it feels like he does his best whenever he's making like emotional music and also sometimes serious music as well. Um, and sometimes when he's doing like satirical ones, it can be a pretty really like a really good hit, but when it's a miss, it can be pretty bad as well, like really bad. I'm talking about like um what's it called like Big Weenie or something like that, being satirical or my first single. Those are prime examples of the satirical Eminem just being terrible. I'm sorry. Um, but yeah, anyways, Yellow Brick Road, fantastic song. And then after that is Like Toy Soldiers. I don't see what people are saying. Like, I guess like Toy Soldiers gets really or like obnoxious or something. I don't know, something like that. Just trying to like throw shade at it. Because, but I don't see it. This song is still great. Another serious song that Eminem is that put in this album. I don't see, any reason to even hate on this song. It's a good song. I don't even to this day, it's one of his best songs of all time. Like I said, whenever he's sort of being like kind of serious as well, like, of shit going on with like, maybe media or people close to him or anything like that, he's always doing his best to show that he's serious about it. He's not just, being like goofing off as like, oh, I don't care, something like that. He's being serious and putting a lot of work into those, especially. So of course, like Toy Soldier is a fantastic song. I mean, what else is there to say? It's so good. I like it. This song should not get any hate. I mean, okay, I'm sorry. I'm getting too delusional, of course. Maybe there are some reasons to hate it. I'm sorry. But I just don't see it. That's in my opinion. If you don't like it, that's fine. I'm sorry. But anyways, Mosh. Mosh is actually a song, sort of like a political one, where he talks about, um, speaking up that other people should speak up and not agree with, if I recall, the Bush administration, trying to go to war in Iraq or something like that. And I think it's good. It really shows to you how sort of like serious Eminem does get whenever he's making these types of songs. And I think he did pretty well. I think it's a decent song. I don't really have anything else to say about it. I don't listen to it too much, but I get what Eminem was saying, and I respect him for that. I think it's really good that celebrities, especially like Eminem during that time, speaks up about something like that, and especially with his sort of fame, like it's good to speak up of something like that and tell his fans, hey, you shouldn't agree with this. This is not good. Because all this shit going on in the world, speak up and say no to this. It's great. I think it's a good song. Now, moving on to the next songs. This is after Mosh. This is when it starts becoming a mixed bag. Puke. Um, Now Puke. I mean, I don't know, man. Like the beginning of the music, it really just like kills it. To me, it kills the song already because all you hear is just Eminem, vomiting, and then he says, "There, there that goes," or something like that. Me thinking of you, some shit like that. I'm sorry, I don't like the song. I really don't. That was one of the big issues with this album is him being a lot more like unserious. Of course, like he had his reasons, but it wasn't that great to begin with. He shouldn't have really even done that much. And that's not to say that Eminem hasn't been satirical, said some shit like that in his past, but I feel like he had a lot more balance when he did those. Like he was being a lot like very creative when he was doing those satirical things. And here he was just doing it just for the sake of being silly or just being goofy, which just sucks because it wasn't well performed. It wasn't really well done. It was just bad. And with my first single, it's even worse in my opinion because like he said himself that my first single was actually supposed to be mocking people of making like um traditional like generic choruses or beats, and he's trying to like mock them of doing that, but I feel like it could have been better. I kind of like the beat at first, but then he kills it so much when he's talking, when he's, saying all this shit, especially the chorus. Like, why would you add burps and fucking diarrhea fart sounds into that song? You just immediately killed the whole vibe of what Encore could have been. Because, like, if with Encore, like, I don't even know how to explain it, bro. Like, it really disappointed me when I was hearing these songs. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Not even with like his old songs, he was ever really like this. Sure, he maybe, of course, included many like sound effects like that, but it felt more fitting when he did that. He was just doing this for the sake of just haha funny like burp, haha funny fart. It wasn't even funny. It wasn't even well placed. It was just bad. And I feel like with Eminem right now, he would agree to that, because I've seen some clips before of him saying that like he didn't understand what he was even thinking when he was like doing stuff in Relapse or Encore. And I feel like Encore definitely deserves a lot more shade than Relapse. But that'll be a video for another day. Um, but yeah, I'm sorry. But Puke and my first single are just like what the fuck. It went from like a 10 out of 10 album to like a 6 out of 10 from right there. And I think it only gets worse with like Rain Man. I mean, Rain Man, I don't listen to it too often, but it's not like anything catches my eye when I'm listening to it. with Rain Man, like I like the beat. I think the beat could have been really good with a more of a serious tone. With what's called Yellow Brick Road. If he went with a sort of tone like that and focused more on something else serious, I don't know. The song could have been a lot better. I do like the production. I think the beat, I think it's pretty solid, but again, it's instantly killed with what Eminem is even fucking saying. Um, you can really hear also with him going a lot with his different accents, and also just you hear how unserious he is with what he's even saying, like, 'cause I ain't got no legs nor no brain, shit like that. And I think in the beginning he says like talking about like he doesn't care that if you're offended or something like that. And as a wise man once said, I am offended, but not in the way that Eminem intended. Because even with like other songs, from before, of course, I'm not offended. I don't really care. Um, of course, it's reasonable to be offended from other people that are offended from his previous songs, but with this one, like there is no really real reason to even be offended because it's clear it's coming from someone that is not being serious or just I don't know what his mindset was at this time. Of course, it was pretty bad, but still, it just I'm sorry, Rain Man. It just sucks. It definitely could have been a lot better. One of the better songs. I feel like if Eminem ever made any remakes to songs, the ones that I want to see is for sure Rain Man and probably my first single because I really do feel like my first single could have been a lot better and Rain Man could have been a lot better if Eminem actually took it more serious or at least cooled it down with the satirical thing, because that pretty much just like killed it a lot since it wasn't even like a good, satire lyrics. It really wasn't. Anyways, moving on from that, we're moving on to we're moving on to Big Weenie. Now, as I said before, if you like these songs, Rain Man, of course, there are reasons to like the song. I do agree. Um, but there are reasons to also not like it, and sometimes it does kill it. Whenever I'm listening to some of those songs, like I don't want to really listen to them, but there's nothing wrong with liking them as well. It's just the sake of I want better. That's what I would want. If I can see that there is some potential in some of these songs, I can feel like Eminem. I want to see better because I do see that you still have it in you to make better songs like this, or at least do better from these flaws that you showed. Refrain from trying to commit these same flaws again, and just do better than before. But with Big Weenie, I mean, I don't know, man. This is another song that's just an example of again him not really taking it very serious and not really a good satire. 'Cause you're just a meanie, or 'cause you're just a big weenie. Like the chorus sucks. I do think that the chorus is one of the worst that he's made. It's not really catchy. I really don't think it's catchy. Of course, it's fine if you find it funny. I guess I do. It's kind of silly. It, I get it, but I'm sorry. It's not good. I'm sorry. Like I'm really trying my best to be as positive as I can because I don't like it when I'm, shitting on Eminem or anything like that. I don't like it when I'm like criticizing it because he's one of my favorite artists, or he is my favorite artist of all time. I always listen to him nonstop, no matter what. Every single day, I'm always listening to Eminem from his newer albums, from his older albums, from anything. I'm always listening to him because I just like his songs so much. But it just pains me to say that some of these songs just aren't really that great and really affect the quality of or not just the quality, but just my mindset of I need to be real here. What am I really gonna say? What am I gonna even rank this album? What do I really think this album deserves? I don't think it's completely terrible, but I don't think it's perfect either because it's not perfect. There are so many flaws to this that it could have been better, but during the mindset of that time with Eminem, it's clear he didn't care about making it better. He just wanted it to release already. And it didn't matter to him that, it was rushed or anything like that. He just wanted to get it done and over with already. But anyways, yeah, Big Weenie. I don't have anything else to say really. This song is just I don't really like it. It's fine if you like it as well. There's no reason. I'm not gonna hate you or anything like that. Call you delusional or anything. It's fine. There's no problem. I'm just not a huge fan of it. Next one, Just Lose It. Now, thankfully, this is actually a very good song. It's sort of like going with the vibe of his previous hits, like The Real Slim Shady and Without Me. And I think Eminem did pretty solid with this one. At least the satire in this one was pretty good. I actually do like it, and I know some people don't really like it because I guess it gets obnoxious when Eminem is kind of like screaming, it's like ah 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 ah. I get it, but I don't really mind it that much really. I think it's funny, and I really do like with like his references of like 8 Mile or you know B Rabbit or shit like that. I think it's good. I actually really like it, and it's pretty catchy to me. Um, uh, I'm sorry, I'm gonna sing so much, but I'm just trying to think of everything right now. But yeah, I don't really have anything else to say. I think it's pretty good. I like the funny lines. Or I think the music video is pretty funny as well, especially with like um him and Dre in that one scene. It's funny. I think it's really good. I think Eminem was able to actually make the satire and just the quality, not the quality, but just he did good with this. He did good. He saw the balance and he did great with it. I do think that it's a very good song. I very much agree that this song deserves all the attention it got. 100%. I think it's very good. I like it. Now, like I said before, Ass Like That, I don't agree. I really don't. I think Ass Like That is mediocre as hell. I don't like it. Sure, you could say the chorus is, I guess, catchy, but I'm sorry. I just don't like it at all. I really don't. I don't listen to it. And, it was going again with more of Eminem's, accents, which wasn't really that great in here. I just don't like it. I really don't. Like, again, he didn't balance out the quality of the lyrics with satire like he did in other ones. Especially when you hear the chorus, like he says like da doing doing doing. Like I know he's talking about like ass and like how it turns him on or whatever, but it just wasn't really well done in here in my opinion. Um, but yeah, I mean, I really don't see the hype in it or the interest in it. I really do feel like Yellow Brick Road should have gotten the attention that Ass Like That got because this song is just I don't really like it. I'm not a huge fan of it. I definitely prefer some of the other songs. I would honestly rather listen to fucking I don't know, something like Evil Deeds than Ass Like That 100%. Now, after that is Spend Some Time. I think Spend Some Time is actually another one of Eminem's underrated songs, especially with the people that were in the song. Obi Trice, Real Name No Gimmick, Stat Quo, and 50 Cent. That's a lot of people. I think it's a pretty decent song with a lot of cool people in that song, and the chorus is a little I mean, it's not that bad. I really don't think it's that bad. But yeah, I mean, I don't really have much else to say. I actually think that this song's like an 8 or 9 out of 10. Definitely one of his underrated songs. I really do think that this should have gotten more recognition as well. It's kind of surprising to me that it didn't. It's not that bad. Like Eminem doesn't go too far with like what he says. Um, in before like other songs that I was talking about. I think it's decent. It's not that bad. Anyways, moving on from that, of course, one of his most iconic songs, Mockingbird. Now, Mockingbird, rightfully so, deserves a lot of praise, and it does get all that praise, rightfully so. I mean, it's a fantastic song. It's another sort of tribute to his daughter, Haley. With all the issues that's been going on with him and his ex-wife. His mom or her mom, Kim. um, you know, going to jail and all that, all the shit that he's going through, and just the looking back at some things when they were together, like in Christmas, how like they went through so much, like people breaking into their homes and stuff. It's a great song. I really do think that's, of course, still one of his best songs ever, even to this day, and really takes the cake for the best song for many people from this album, which is rightfully so. It deserves it 100%. That's why you can tell to me every time I ever hear someone or like hear talking about like serious topics, in his songs, being more serious and also just being emotional in some of the songs, he's always at his best because he knows he can't fuck this up. He doesn't want to stain the reputation or just doesn't want to stain the sort of emotional streak that he was going with in his songs to end just from like a pretty crappy one that he didn't take as serious. So, of course, Mockingbird 100% deserves all the praise it got, 100%, and it still holds up really well to this day. The chorus is great. I think it's nice. It really is nice and like refreshing to hear Eminem take it more serious in this one, than his previous songs from this album. It really is. It's great. Now, moving on from that is Crazy in Love. This is another one of Eminem that he sampled with in a different song, and I actually don't think Crazy in Love is that bad. I haven't really listened to it that often, but I actually think it's not that bad. I mean, um, I actually like with how Eminem was singing in this one, going with the flow of the song instead of like other songs with Big Weenie. Like it didn't really feel like he was going with the flow of the song. It felt like in this one he was, and that felt a lot better. And definitely a big improvement from the middle songs. And Crazy in Love, I mean, I think it's pretty good. Um, it's crazy to me how not many people really talk about this one that often, which is wild to me. Of course, like I said, there are better songs, that people talk about more often, but this one is kind of surprising. I mean, it's not that bad. Of course, there are some reasons to dislike it, but I mean, I think I like it. It's not that bad. Sure, maybe you can criticize like with like Eminem raising his voice higher to go with the song of it, but I don't know. I never really had a problem with Eminem doing that, so I don't think it's that bad. But overall, yeah, it's pretty good. I'm actually pretty surprised with the song of it or the song. Um, Honestly thought it was gonna be a little worse, but no, I was wrong. He actually proved me wrong with this one. I think one shot, two shots. I think it's sort of like an average song. It's not too bad. I'm not saying that it's bad or anything like that. I think the chorus is kind of catchy. The beat of it is also kind of catchy. I do like the flow of it. Um, with the way Eminem is singing in the chorus, and I think in the verses he does really good as well with the beat of it. Making it go more good with the flow of it. So I actually think this song is pretty solid. I don't think it's that bad. Um, of course, I do feel like there's some better songs, but it's this one's actually decent. I actually don't think it's that bad. I haven't listened to it too often, but yeah, I mean, it's pretty good. I mean, I don't really have anything bad to say about it. And sure, I mean, I guess you could say it's kind of fucked up. Talking about a shootout, like a sort of shootout they're doing or whatever. But that's besides the point. So I don't think this song is that bad. I think it's pretty good. Now moving on to the last song, which is Encore slash Curtains Down. I think this song is just perfect. I think that it's just a very good song. I don't really have much else to say about it. I mean, I think it's a great way to end the album. I think the features with Dr. Dre and 50 Cent was really good. I'm not surprised that this got a nomination for a Grammy, which who's surprised really? Because it's just a really good song, and I'm surprised it didn't get as much recognition as other songs, which it really is crazy to me. But other than that, I don't really have much else to criticize about it. I think it's good. The chorus is great. I think what Eminem is saying is great. I'm glad he didn't go with the other path that he did with the other songs. Um, and yeah, it's pretty solid. Now, to conclude everything, to conclude sort of like the review of this album. Now, there are many reasons to dislike the album, and there are many reasons to, criticize it, of course. But at the end of the day, when I look back at everything and I look at all of the songs, at best to me, I feel like this album is a 7 out of 10. I don't see it being a 6 out of 10, not even a 5. I'm sorry. And I don't see it as an 8 out of 10 or a 9 or a 10, because then I would be backtracking on other albums that I like, like Marshall Mathers LP 2 or other songs like in his older ones. And this song or this album is it's decent. Like I said, it's a mixed bag, but it's not completely terrible. I really don't think it's terrible. when there are highs, there are really good highs. When there are lows, they were really bad. Especially with, Puke or My First Single or, you know, other songs. It's just they were pretty bad when I listened to it. I don't like listening to them. I don't really think they're that great. Maybe you can change my opinion on some of them, but I highly doubt it. I'm sorry. But with Encore, I get it. I get why it got the criticism that it got because when you look back at it and you're listening to Slim Shady LP, you're listening to Marshall Mathers LP, Eminem Show, and then you start playing Encore, especially in the middle part, you start thinking, what went wrong? Because you can tell the quality went down. And of course, we all have the answer, which is just all of the shit that Eminem was going through at this time really affected the quality of this album. And of course, the leaks were not doing it any better and just also made it worse, in my opinion. It really affected it as well, which is such a shame. Um, so I'm at least cutting Eminem some slack with this because, of course, I can't imagine ever going through something like that. Losing your best friend, making the drugs get even worse, and also just shitty people leaking your album and getting so pissed off that you're just releasing these songs that you didn't put any effort in just to release it. Just for the sake of just releasing it, which sucks so much. And I really do feel like, in my opinion, it should have been better if he just um, backed away from music for a while and then came back stronger than ever, and maybe even improve on some of the songs that he worked on just to do better. But it's not really that easy when you're in the music industry. It really isn't, especially when you were as big as Eminem during that time. But other than that, yeah, I would say I would give it like a decent to a strong nine. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. A decent to a strong seven. Um, but yeah, I mean, I personally, I kind of like it. It's not as bad as I thought it was. It really isn't. It's not as bad as I thought it was. There are many issues with it as well, but at the end of the day, I'm going to be looking at its highs and probably not listen to his lows because the lows, when they were lows, they were bad. Because holy shit, is Big Weenie and My First Single just not good. I'm sorry. I really wish they were better, but it's just such a shame. And of course, we can all say it could have been better or it could have been worse, and I really do feel like it could have been better. But with all the shit that he was going through, it was not helping him. And at least he did release it. And I don't know. Honestly, I don't really have anything else to say. It's it's an above average, I would say. It's close average to above average in a way. Um, but other than that, I would not say it's the worst. It really isn't. And feel free to let me know what you think. I've just been making these videos because I just want to. I've been thinking of Encore a lot, and I've just been thinking about what I want to say of this album. What do I think of it? Just because I've been listening to it so much the past few days. So I really wanted to make a video on this, even though it's kind of weird with the way that I've been making, reviews of his albums. Going from Revival to suddenly Marshall Mathers LP and then to Encore. It is weird, but it's just I just been wanting to talk about these because there's so much I want to say about these songs and if I like them, if I dislike them, and I just at the end of the day, I'm just showing that I really, really do like Eminem. I like his songs. I like him. I like it so much. I listen to it nonstop. My top five is Eminem, 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 Eminem. That's all my top five, no matter what. I am the Eminem fan. I am the Eminem stan. Not kidding. I'm kidding. I'm sorry. I'm kidding. I'm going too far. Anyways, I really like his songs, and I wanted to talk about the things that I like about it. His songs that he made back then, and the things that I didn't like about it, like Big Weenie. But yeah, that's all I really wanted to say. This album is decent. I wouldn't say it's terrible. I really wouldn't. Some of the songs are pretty terrible, but um, would I say it brings it all the way down to like a five or something? No, I would just not play them. But I'm not gonna ignore them because, of course, they did stain the reputation of that album. So, of course, they did make a big impact in the wrong way. But other than that, I'm gonna shut up now. That's all I really have to say. I hope you enjoyed. I'm sorry that these are really long. I'm trying to at least make it work with the amount of time I've been gone. Like 2 weeks is crazy. That fucking sucks. But at least I hope you enjoy watching these long videos. If you don't, that's fine. I understand, and I'm trying my best to make more videos, but I just don't have any new ideas besides these. The ones that I do want to talk about. No games that I really want to talk about. Fortnite, I already talked about everything I want to talk about for now, at least. With the shit with all the game modes and how boring it is right now. But with Eminem, I think there's a lot to talk about, especially with how much I listen to him. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. See ya.
Yeah, I got a few wishes. Yeah, we got a few wishes. Got why these niggas tricking. Got why these niggas tricking. Teachers say I'm different. Teachers said we different. But I chose the streets and pimpin'. But we chose the streets and pimpin'.